let's just begin with broad-based. What sticks out to you the most here in this budget, good, bad, and different?
I am seeing really exciting investments locally. We saw $2 million for the Albany Mesonet, which is a weather-related infrastructure that's housed at Albany. This is the first time we're seeing this type of really exciting investment. The Mesonet helps predict weather-related emergencies, and it's kind of something that's not funded to this degree, and Albany provides this beautiful service to New York City. It helps DOT, it helps DEC, and so to get a $2 million investment in our one house, it's something that I've been fighting for quite some time. I'm really, really excited about it.
I spoke with them recently. I can't remember what it was about, but they did say that some things, investments that we're hoping to kind of broaden and fill out some of the infrastructure, right, and try to help. Yeah,
it's a big win. So $2 million there, $1 million for Harriman campus in the one house assembly at one house, which is hopefully to propel that study for 7 of the 27 acres there. Of course, we're hoping to see parity with that downtown investment, some uptown investment at Harriman campus, as we hope for mixed use, housing, commercial development, et cetera, in that uptown parking lot district area. Really exciting to see that $1 million promise in the one house there. And then of course some of these big things that we're seeing, movement with utility bills, people are demanding relief there. There is a what's called POWER, the acronym for maybe $500 or $300 checks directly to people, which I think is a great first step. Ideally, frankly, I would like to see something that's a more progressive and regular money back in people's pockets, but it's definitely something. I'm happy to see money back in people's pockets in some way, but I was hoping to see something a little bit more regular and a direct response to frankly, the intensity of the moment.
Yeah, let's continue there, because I thought that was, from the assembly side, interesting, a little bit different than sort of the more I want to call, and I think the governor said sort of the accountability proposals in her budget when it came to some of the utility companies. The Senate also had something similar in theirs. Do you think, like you said, long range, what has to be done here when it comes to that? Because I think the 2-year moratorium, that was one for the rate cases, and you had a commission as well to study all of this. But where would you like to see this all land at the end of the day?
Well, you said it well, which was the 2-year moratorium. That's positive, meaning there's a 2-year moratorium on increases to people's rates. That's going to do some positivity there. There's also an allotment to create a new office that will allow for some transparency and hopefully people that are eligible for certain affordability-related programs, they now will be able to call this office, and that office will be able to help them navigate the, muddy waters of the many programs that are available to them. Frankly, a lot of people call their legislators, and we help them with that. So now they have a direct office that they can go to all the time, and there's just so many programs available to them. So being able to have one phone number, one place to call will be great. And that will, inevitably, they project many billions of dollars saved with that specific office. Those are all great measures, but I've always said from the beginning, people need money back in their pockets, and they need it immediately. So that's where those checks come in that are hopefully going to give much needed relief to people. It's just $300 or $500 might not scratch the surface.
When it comes to the revenue raiser, the whole taxing the wealthy notion here, that, the colleagues on the other side of the aisle, I can't believe we're adding more taxes on the state, on the New Yorkers, and we're making it even costlier to live. What is your response to that?
The reality is that we're taxing the millionaires and the billionaires, of which New York State has the highest concentration. And it doesn't start unless you're making over $5 million. That's where these real taxes start. We are creating new brackets, and so, these brackets, we're going from 9 brackets to 11 brackets, and we're not taxing working class New Yorkers. We're taxing the millionaires and the billionaires of New York State, which frankly they've gotten away with far too much for far too long. What we're doing with this new revenue is that we're going to invest back in social programs, education, healthcare, social programs that will actually help working families. And the reality of that is that that's what New York does. We protect our working class people. New York leads in that way. And so I'm really proud of our revenue raisers. That is the type of thing that we should be doing in our budgets as a moral document. And the progressive tax that we're doing here is one that is quite incremental, quite progressive in that way, by taxing a teeny bit more in those new brackets, by going from 5 to 100, a little bit more in every bracket.
And what about the question of people leaving when it comes to that? Do you think that forces people to reconsider staying in the state? Those people specifically that do provide, obviously, a lot of the tax revenue and things like that already.
Yeah, that's been studied quite extensively, and the reality is that working class New Yorkers are leaving New York State because they can't afford it here. The millionaires and the billionaires are staying. That's a fact.
Yeah. So the other question there regarding that topic, obviously, has been Zohran Mamdani, New York City. Do you think this would have happened without him? Do you think these proposals would have made it to the table?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a great champion for this type of progressive tax revenue, but the mayors in upstate have also been asking for additional investment, and so cannot have done this without all of our leaders and our executives across New York that have been asking for additional revenue too. This will inevitably give New York State more revenue, which will be invested back in programs and places that need it. So proud of our New York City mayor, who has been a champion for this since day one when he was in the assembly, undoubtedly. But I'm proud to say that there's been a slow and strong drumbeat of people that have also been calling for progressive tax reform, myself included.
Finally, the Youth Justice Innovation Fund, we talked a lot about raise the age funding as well. Where does that all fit in terms of where you're at? I know that we talked about the funding mechanism and where to make it not necessarily changes in the legislative language, but more money in different spots. What does that all mean?
Yeah, so the Senate included it pretty explicitly in their one house. The Assembly is fully funding it. And last I heard is that we are potentially doing a pilot of about 20, maybe 30 million through a DCJS pilot, again, in the one house, so we still have to negotiate and get it to the final budget. The reality is that we do need a funding stream change, and I'm hoping that we can get it into the final budget in a way that changes the way that we handle that funding so it goes directly to the community-based organizations. It's definitely not off the table, and I hope we can get it across the finish line, whether it's in a fully funded Youth Justice Innovation Fund version or if it's in that 20, 30 million, DCJS pilot. Either way, our kids deserve it, so we'll figure something out in the end, hopefully.